So guys, in today's video, we're once again looking at yesterday's TWID. If you missed it yesterday, I made a big video breaking down all of the major changes coming in the March update that were revealed in this TWID. So if you haven't seen that already, go and watch that. In today's one though, we're going to be going over TWID details that I briefly skipped over, this being in the future section of the TWID, going over some updates to content as well as some exotic weapon changes that we're going to be seeing in the final shape. Going to be going over all the details as always, and going over some speculation on what those changes could be. So as always, if you're going to enjoy the video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, as it's free to do and it really does help me out here a lot. Also getting super close to 1,000 subscribers, and a lot of you who watch my content still aren't subscribed, so any support there would be greatly appreciated. With that out of the way, hope you're going to enjoy this one, and let's just jump straight into it. So, what am I talking about here in terms of future changes as well as exotic weapon updates? Well, in the part labelled the future, they say that we've pulled a lot of balance changes from the final shape and Destiny 2 into the light into update 7.3.5, but we'll still have a number of small but exciting changes shipping in into the light, touching content many players haven't thought about in several years. Now this could be a lot of things, and the first thing that I think about when they talk about content that could be updated, my initial brain thought goes towards the next raid update, which is going to be Garden of Salvation. Those weapons still haven't been updated yet, so that's the main thing that I think about. One of the things that it could be is that they could be updating older activities in the game that people aren't playing. These mainly being the activities that are released with certain expansions. So you've got the Nightmare Hunts on the Moon via the Shadowkeep expansion. Those could get updated because I'm pretty sure nobody's doing Nightmare Hunts. You've got the same thing on Europa with the Empire Hunts, which were tied to Beyond Light. And just a load of that content could receive an update. Primarily though, probably going to be the update to the Garden of Salvation raid, as I believe is the last raid that needs to be updated in terms of getting its weapons updated perks and giving them an origin trait. A lot of people are going to look towards the return of content that was removed via the DCV sunset that happened in, I believe, before Beyond Light launched. I would love to see all that content return to the game, but I do not think that they're going to be bringing all of that content back within the small Into the Light update. Probably just going to be a raid update here to Garden of Salvation, so probably lower your expectations on that front. But moving away from all of that stuff, let's go and talk about my speculation on the exotic weapon changes that were also mentioned. If we return to this article, they say, we're also making substantial changes to several of the least used exotic weapons and adjusting some perks. This is all going to be happening in the final shape. So let's go and speculate on what weapons these could actually be. Now, when they go and update weapons, they normally add some sort of anti-champion capability to the said weapon if it's mainly a PvE focused weapon. But if it's PvP focused weapon, then they might just add a new perk to it or update its perks in general. Some weapons that immediately come to mind in terms of needing an update. Bad Juju hasn't been updated in any sort of capacity recently, so a Bad Juju update could be on the horizon, could be very cool. The only thing that this weapon really does is that it fires in full auto and it regens you your super back a little bit faster. Maybe they could incorporate a way to give it different buffs depending on what super you are using. That could be quite interesting. Another weapon that comes to mind, Jade Rabbit, hasn't really received any real changes. This one could be more of a PvP focused change, as not many people use this weapon inside of PvE. I know that it's generally just a good scout rifle in PvP, but adding some spice to it could help it out there as well. Suros personally hasn't seen any changes. I know it's quite a good weapon already, but hasn't received changes, so that could also be on the list. In terms of other prime weapons, you have Cerberus +1. This one definitely hasn't received any changes apart from its catalyst being able to change its spread for closer and longer ranges. This one could also be potential for an update. Moving on to energy weapons, Symmetry is definitely one that I've been wanting to receive an Arc 3.0 update for a while now. This one has an alt firing mode where it swaps to an Arc Seeker style shooting pattern. So having those Arc Seeker bolts be able to jolt targets, I think could be quite an interesting update for this weapon. Would definitely increase its popularity inside of the PvE sandbox. Alongside that, we've also got Hiku's Divination. This one isn't probably a weapon that isn't used much because it is quite a good weapon, but just give it the ability to scorch and ignite targets already. You've given this update to other weapons, just give it to Tiku's by now, because this one still surprises me that it can't scorch or ignite targets, and that would allow it to be weaved into different solar builds more easily, which is great there. That's probably it for the energy weapons. Moving on to heavy weapons now. One that immediately comes to mind is Prospector, because for some reason this thing still has full auto as a perk, which I believe they said that they would remove full auto from all perks now that full auto is technically a setting that you can just switch on and off. So switching this to something could be quite useful. Another weapon that comes to mind in terms of needing updates is Truth. Truth does not get used at all, so increasing its tracking capabilities or just adding something to this rocket launcher could make it stand out a bit more compared to the other options available. Other heavy weapons, I don't think Colony's used that much, so that could also get updated. Don't see Darcy being used, but I do think this one did get slightly updated. Yeah, this one now jolts targets. This one probably won't get an update, but it's still not really used all that much. And yeah, that's all the ones that I can think about. As always, be sure to leave your thoughts on what weapons could get changed in the comment section down below. That is it for this video. So as always, if you've enjoyed, leave a like, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.